It's Mark Husson's Astrology Hour. Time for you to expect something wonderful.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome. It's Mark Husson. This is the Astrology Hour with Mark Husson, or is it Mark Husson's Astrology Hour, coming to you live February 12th at just about 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. if you're on the East Coast. How the hell are you? I miss you guys every week. It's so good to be back here on this February 12th. I just, every time anytime I hear 1-2, anytime I hear the number 12, I think of my beloved company. I do love it. 12listen.com is where we have some of the best advisors in the world. They are psychics. They are astrologers. They are amazing, caring, heart-centered people. And the prices are randomized every 1-2 day. So you don't know what price you're going to get. It could be 99 cents. It could be anything above that, but it's random, and you can go talk to your favorite people or meet some of the new people. It's the safest system I've ever encountered. I love the integrity. I hope you'll join us over at 12listen.com and have some fun today. So it's 2 days also before Valentine's Day. Not that that means a whole lot to anybody. It means a lot to me because it was on Valentine's Day in 1987 that I met John. I can't even do the math anymore of how long that relationship has not only survived, but has just, I feel pretty lucky about all that. I hope you are feeling lucky in your life. We're going to make you feel lucky because we have so much to talk about today. If you're new to the show, get on over to 12radio.com. See, everything starts with 12, the number 12, and get over there and click the chat link. And it's on the left-hand side. It's like the third link down. You click chat, and you're brought over to the Facebook room where Jay has so kindly put up the banner and my note that I send out. I hope you'll get on the mailing list too at 12house.com. You also can get reports at 12reports.com. They're astrologically computerized reports. There's hundreds of them. And come play with us. Now, when you come into the room, you'll see the banner and you'll also see comments. And I click that comments button on the top right and change it to all comments so I can see everybody. And when I go there, I'm instantly opened, my heart opens, and I see Lynn Goldberg with a lovely note as always. And I'm so grateful for you, Lynn. And I worry about over hugging you because I never want people to feel like they got to be here, right? I get nervous about all kinds of things that I overthink, but I do want to express my gratitude and appreciation to see you and your kindness. So thank you, Laura. Same to you, and to everybody here that's a regular. Truly, Jennifer Locksme, Ali Shea, you guys are like people listening to the show who can't come into the room. By now, I've heard your names and understand just the kind of commitment it takes to log in and log over to the Facebook page. I mean, I can't do that every day. I couldn't do it once a week, hardly, but I do it for you guys. I'm not a big fan of social media. Most of you know that. Most of my Cancerian part, my little crabby, not crabby, that part. It's the sensitive part under the crab shell that gets on social media and goes, I never feel good being here. I never do, except for this moment with you in a private chat is the most elevated I could ever feel, most grateful I could ever feel. But I go to, Instagram or Facebook or even TikTok, and I'm like, there's that feeling that sinks over me that it's like, I'm not doing enough or I'm not living my life fully enough. It just happens. And if I'm feeling that, I know a lot of people might be feeling that. So I'm not dissing social media. It's a thing to stay. I'm not anti it for the world, but it definitely is a tough one for me. So that's why you don't see me a lot engaging. If some people DM me, direct message me on Instagram and or Facebook, and I won't see it for the longest time. So it's a tough thing. So, and some people maybe feel that it's a deliberate, ignoring of them, but it isn't. It's just me not having or wanting my attention there. I'll always put a snapshot that's cute of the dogs or of my bread, which is going through its transformation these days. I'm just learning more. So as you learn more, you start breaking your mold of what you were doing, and then it's all different. It's like, oh God, now nothing's working. So it's in that sort of experimental phase, but it's still delicious. I'm still enjoying it. And so anyway, back to you. So Jennifer, thanks for being here. Jennifer Lakshmi is also an advisor at 1-2-Listen. She's part of the sale today. I can't imagine not wanting to just call and touch in to see what wisdom she holds, because there's always wisdom there. Ali Shea, thanks again. Raven's in the house. Hi, Raven. It's good to see you up early. I can't imagine why you get up early. You do so much on 1-2 Radio and it seems always so late. So thank you for coming. Pamela, thank you. I'm sorry your day's busy, but I'm glad it's busy, and I hope it goes by fast for you in that way. Quelly, Grand Rising Mark, Jay, and 1-2 Family. Jay, I love how they shout out to you. That's so sweet. Jay works hard. Jay's also a psychic at 1-2 Radio, at 1-2-Listen, and he has 3 radio shows, I believe. There might be 4, but Wednesday's a big day for Jay, and then him and Raven pick it up on Thursdays again. It's crazy, and Jay, you're great, very greatly appreciated. All right, so one last look. I'm just you have to refresh this page, and then I'm going to get started. Today's an Aries moon. It just turned into Aries before you guys arrived. Thank you, truly. Thank you. And Laura, thanks for being here. Oh, okay. Now what happened? It went backwards. Now it reversed. Hi, Michelle. Jackie's in the house. Find your way. Happy 1-2 day. Find your way. Love is in the air. See you there. She's our wordsmith. She's a masterful wordsmith, truly. Grateful to have you, Jackie. And Michelle, you too. Thanks for being here. Okay. So Aries moon. Now, the thing I like to liken the Aries moon to the season of spring, because when the sun enters Aries, around March 19th, 20th, we enter spring, right? So when the moon enters Aries once a month, we get to redo spring. And I'm not kidding. If you feel it, you'll feel it, because we just got out of the Piscean moon, right? The Pisces moon was until this morning, early 5 a.m. Pacific. So if you stayed up and watched the game, or if you got to see the Super Bowl, I'm horrible at sports. Most of you know me, know that. I don't follow them at all, but I do love the Super Bowl. I have so much fun there. I see the talent, the young talent. I still think we're bashing our young men too hard, and it's a brutal sport, but it's gladiator days, I guess. It was fun to see Usher. It was, it's a generation of people I know that were spooned this, the music and the dancing. He reminds me so much of Michael Jackson in his moves and his one glove. And I remember thinking that when I first saw Usher, but he's an incredible talent. So that's really fun. The commercials weren't as spectacular as I wanted them to be, but there was a few belly laugh ones and the ones that bring, a tear to your eye. So fun stuff. Anyway, I hope you got a chance to enjoy it and I hope you got a chance to get away from it if you don't enjoy that stuff, because I know that our group is a little alternative. So now the Aries moon, it was Pisces yesterday, and we bust out today into this sort of like warrior spirit, the season of spring. And it is sort of fiery. I think if you pay attention under the lens of Aries to your life, you'll see a little bit more restlessness. You're going to see a little more, and I want you to notice it in the air and on, if you do world events, pay attention a little bit to world events, because there is some stuff coming up that I want to pay attention to. And basically, that is this movement of Mars toward Pluto. And that's what I really wanted to talk to you about today, because Mars in the sky is going to be changing signs tonight. And it's leaving Capricorn and it's going into Aquarius. There's a lot to celebrate about that, and there's a lot to pay attention to. So let's talk about the things that we're going to celebrate. The Mars in Capricorn at 29 degrees, there is an urgency probably in many of us, and I wonder if it's an urgency for you guys as well, in terms of, is the word urgent, or is it this feeling that you got to get something done? Like a feeling of like, okay, I got to take care of business, because this is Mars at the very last degree of Capricorn. And if you think about Capricorn as the stoic sign, the sign of productivity, the Saturn sign, Saturn rules Capricorn. If you think about even your last month, and like, was a lot on your mind about getting something done or being productive or moving the energy so that you can be like, pay attention to what you have to do. And did your to-do list get bigger? And are you feeling this sense of, like, I noticed deep irritation, an impatience almost around, non-productivity, not only in myself, but I was rushing to take care of business. Like, I'm going to be one step ahead of everything. And I can't sit here and do this all day because I gotta blah, 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 whatever it is. Or, people around me, if they weren't doing enough, or I noticed my mind just like, whoa, Lord. And John and I were kind of laughing because it's like, it feels almost like a mean streak. Like, I had no tolerance. It was zero tolerance. And I noticed it getting bigger. We looked, and there it was. Mars in Capricorn opposes my sun. So you can sort of track these things. And, I'm so grateful that I live with an astrologer who we speak that language so deeply that it's like, we can just turn our head to the computer and pull up this is what it is, right? This is what you're doing. And so we're at the end of that. This is 29 degrees Capricorn today. Now, if you know anything about astrology, if you know the numbers at all, and I know you don't need to know a lot, but 29 degrees is the very last you can get to. It's literally like 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, and at 12:01, 12 and 1 second, like 1 minute, 1 second later, it's the next day. It's no longer Sunday, right? At midnight. So that's the same thing with the zodiac. At 29:59, literally like a clock, at 29:59, in the next 2 minutes, because it's a different kind of speed with the planets, we're out of Capricorn. But that 29:59, that degree is like pressure cooker. Now, if you were born at 29 anything, if you look at your chart and you look at the numbers around the wheel, the big numbers that have the degree next to them, and you see a 29, you're all the power of that sign. And some people might call you overbearing. And you have to notice that for yourself. See if you are a 29er, if people, that part of you, it could be your moon, it could be your Venus, it could be your Mars, it could be your sun, it could be your rising sign, but see if something about you in that arena, in that sign, is considered a little over the top, because you're all that energy. It doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you someone that has a more serious, a more forceful, zodiacal tone to you in that sign that it's in. Now, Mars is there, and tonight at 10:59, tonight late Pacific time, like right in, early morning for the rest of us, it changes into Aquarius at 0. And I honestly think we can feel the difference. Now, while it's been at 29 and 28 and 27, even 27 is getting up there with some heavy energy. That's, if some of you have been noticing this sort of ferocious intent inside of you, And a lot of it looks like condemnation if you're not doing enough. And a lot of it looks like workaholic if you're doing too much. And a lot of it looks like, you'd be working if you could. And if you were in a situation that you couldn't, you're frustrated. Mars in Capricorn, very stoic. Well, tomorrow, let's say tomorrow, it enters Aquarius and it meets Pluto at 0 Aquarius. I did a little research about what that, when that's happened in the past. But I want to talk to you about these two planets because they're big. And they both, before we knew Pluto existed, right? And the way Pluto got discovered is a miracle in and of itself, because if you go look at any history of the discovery of Pluto and what the sky looked like, it looked like a million dots in the sky. But this, I'm not going to get his name, so I could Google it, but you can Google it. The guy who discovered Pluto saw something moving. One of those dots was moving differently than the others. Millions of dots. He finds the one that's moving differently. And the introduction of Pluto happened, and then we assigned the sign of Scorpio to that planet. But where was Scorpio before that? Scorpio was part of Mars. So Mars ruled Aries and Scorpio for the longest time, which puts it in the collective mind as similar energy. Well, this planet that sort of is about seduction and about how we take action, speaking of Mars, and aggression, is now meeting one of the most ferocious, most piercing, most internal, most deeply revealing, most transformative planet that we have in our solar system, Pluto. Now, don't quibble about it's not a planet, okay? It's an orb, spinning orb that we've attributed as being one of the part of our solar system. And you can debate if it's a dwarf, it doesn't matter. Just like the sun isn't a planet, but we attribute it as moving around us. And it's not even moving around us, we're moving around it. But astrology is about observation and how things appear, okay? So here we have the laser focus death planet of transformation. You can't transform if something doesn't die, it doesn't transform. Just think butterfly. And Mars is about to kiss it, be at the same moment. And this planet of war and aggression and sexuality and determination and will is about to meet it in the sky. Now, you have to take a couple things into consideration. I just told you 29 degrees was the most ferocious, was the most powerful, was the most biggest combination of energies you can have. So after 29, where does it go? To 0. So it's meeting Pluto at 0 Aquarius. Now, when you get out of the sign of Capricorn and you get out of that work, stoic, serious mode, because Capricorns can be exhausting. What sign can't be exhausting? So if you took that personally, the reason you're a Capricorn is because you don't take it personally. You don't care. You're happy. You're proud of that stoic part. And that part that is relentless, that you can just, get something done because you've decided it needs to get done. And now Mars is leaving that and entering the humanitarian sign, the sign of overview, the sign of a global consciousness. You remember the mythology. One of the ones I attribute most to Aquarius is the Promethean myth, where his whole purpose was to bring fire to humankind because Zeus hated humans, wanted them dead, jealous, maybe. But the myth was Prometheus didn't think that was fair because Zeus was like, no fire for them. And without fire, there's no warmth, there's no food, there's no whatever. So Prometheus snuck it down, and Zeus got pissed off and chained him to a rock and tortured him ruthlessly, right? So Aquarians have this ideology inside of them that does want to help, that does see a global image of something. If you know an Aquarian, they believe in something. bigger than, what most people do. If you have Uranus close to something, you believe in something bigger than most. You believe in a global consciousness. You believe, and it could be shelter for dogs. It could be shelter for the homeless. It could be, or cats, whatever. It could be whatever it is that they deem the fire they want to bring to the world. Whatever fire, but Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon, Aquarius sun, and any Uranus conjunctions as examples, Jupiter and Aquarius, they believe in ditching the rules in favor of fire, in favor of warmth, in favor of humanitarian issues. And Mars in the sky is about to bring that consciousness in a big way to Pluto, which Pluto is so big, it's generational, but it's moved so slow, but it's also the zeitgeist. It's the collective mind of the entire planet. And they're going to meet tomorrow. How about that? Now, I went back in time a little bit to look at the last time they met. But I wanted to know, I have my notes here. I wanted to pull them up real quick, just the date. It was February 2022 when Mars and Pluto met in Capricorn. Okay, it was that's 2 years ago to the day, right? 2 years ago. And guess what happened 2 years ago? Pretty much to the day. The invasion of Russia into Ukraine. At 29 degrees Capricorn. Well, tomorrow, they meet at 0 Aquarius again. And I'm curious. Now, it was exactly 2 days. I think it was closer to Valentine's Day, but it was really freaking close. And these things never are like on the day. It's almost like you have to think of it as the consciousness sort of trickles down. But let's not focus it so much on Russia and Ukraine, and yet more on this symbolism of the whole thing. Okay? The global picture of it all. There was an invasion. There was the world reacted. There was another one October 7th last year, 2023. And now Mars is finally leaving Capricorn, and it's going to meet up with Pluto in Aquarius. And I'm curious. Now, if you go, I'm afraid, I apologize for that because I probably helped with that. But there's nothing that's been anticipated that you haven't lived through. There's nothing that we haven't sort of guessed on that you haven't survived. It doesn't necessarily have to affect your life personally. I have political fights almost on the daily, and it doesn't change one bit. Not only does it not change the mind of the person I'm arguing, it doesn't change anything about anything except the mood that I'm in at the moment. So lighten up a little bit about it. But I want you to pay attention. What do you think it means? And that's a good astrological hypothesis. Well, it's really more the question. The hypothesis would be whatever you think might be the thing. Will there be global peace suddenly? Will there be an agreement between Israel and Hamas? Will there be the ceasefire of Ukraine and Russia? Or will it get worse? Or those are the geopolitical things. In your own personal world, what will change for you? Will you suddenly be complete and okay with what you have? Or will you feel like there's a new thing you got to focus on? Pay attention. It's going to be in all our charts. And it's tonight that it hits. And then it should have a trickle-down effect within a few days, especially as the moon moves and the moon makes aspects to that thing. So while it's in Aries, it's a complement to Aquarius because fire and air, right? Aquarius is air. For those of you that get confused as the water bearer, it is air. And Aries is fire. Now the moon's in Aries. Mars is ruled by Aries. Mars is changing signs. It's going to be fun to see, right? Let's just pay attention. And think of me think of our chat this morning as you watch things unfold, because I think they're going to be pretty, I think it's going to be interesting. I do. And I'm excited for it. I've never been more perplexed, about the world as I am these days, but it's just perplexed. It feels, and I think that might be the sign of aging. I do. I laugh at that because it's like, oh my God, it so could be the sign that people are acting in ways that I don't understand, that I can't explain. I can't put my finger on it. It just seems like I'm outside the world. And that's when the first thing that occurs to me is like, oh, I wonder if that's how my grandparents felt, or if that's how, my parents felt. That suddenly the world is acting in a way they just don't understand. And, I guess you don't have to be elderly to feel that, but because I'm sure there's some young people that are like, the world is crazy. I have utter faith in the world, though. I want you to know that. When I went to Schwab to work in a sea of 20-somethings, I was blown away at the consciousness and the kindness and the youthful vigor that was for love. Oh my God. I mean, it touches me now to think about it. If you're lost in a world where you're not in touch with young people and you think they're all going to hell in a handbasket, that's just cliche. That's not true. I can vouch for the fact that it's not true. It just isn't. That among every generation there have been, we can go back to the old, oh my God, Roman times. They found letters in the Roman days, like the gladiator Roman days, of fathers saying, my child, or, letters. There's one letter in particular that was a father saying that his son has taken all his money to go to school and he's costing him a fortune. Man, it's crazy how I don't think anything that's ever been, I don't think anything new. There is nothing new, literally, that has occurred or that will occur that has not already occurred. I think we're in an infinity loop, personally. And I think we keep telling us it's new and it's never happened before. And it's just like the hamster wheel. We just forgot, or we didn't do our history. But that's just me. And I'm just saying that I think it's important to understand that there's no death sentence here. There's no end of the world thing happening. It's an endless loop. And the way you break out of the loop, probably the first thing is to start recognizing that it's an endless loop you're in. You know those Star Trek episodes where the person goes, am I the only one that sees that we've done all this before? And they're the only one, and they're stuck in the time continuum warp. I mean, they said that about TV series, that they have to do more reality shows, God help us, because the storylines have all been written. There's no real twists. Interesting, huh? Infinity loop. So now as we get into Aquarius, Mercury is there. The sun is there. The sun's not going to be there for that long. We go into Pisces this Saturday. So Pisces birthdays are coming up. If you have an Aquarian friend in your life, they had a birthday probably, or they're going to have one. Don't forget them. Mercury's in Aquarius. Pluto's in Aquarius. Mars is going into Aquarius. And guess who's next? Venus. So Venus is right behind Mars. And that's the good news I want to tell you. As we look at this sort of change in the dynamics with Mars moving toward Pluto, Venus is right behind it. And why do you think that's important? Because if Mars is the warrior, Venus is sort of the peacemaker, right behind it. And so Mars right now is at 29 Capricorn, as I've told you 400 times. Venus is at 25. So 5 more days and Venus hits Aquarius, hits Pluto again too. So I'm excited to watch that. That's how you truly learn astrology, right? That's how you learn astrology. Pay attention to the events in your life, in the global world around you, And know these two events are happening. First Mars tonight and for the next couple of days, and then Venus toward the end of the week. Fascinating, isn't it? Okay, now also with the moon in Aries, I want you to use today as this sort of like Magic Monday day to get your energy rolling and to start seeing things as new. I wanted to talk to people with Saturn in Pisces. A lot of you have Saturn in Pisces. The Saturn in Aquarius people just finished their journey with Saturn going in their Saturn return. It could be their first or their second, mostly. It could be their third. But the people I know, they just finished their second one. And they get a chance to look back over where they came from and look at the evolution of what got solidified under that Saturn transit. And that's one way to remember what a Saturn transit is. It's a deconstruction and reconstruction of parts of your life. And Saturn in Pisces now is doing that to Pisces and wherever you have Pisces in your chart. And I'm telling you, I love hindsight astrology. Like I love after an event happened to run and look at what happened, because predictive astrology is kind of like torture. Telling someone your life is going to deconstruct and reconstruct. So let's celebrate. Oh, thank you. So those of you with strong Pisces, Pisces moons, Pisces risings, Pisces Saturns, Pisces, anything really. Saturn is at 7 degrees now. Okay. And what you may notice is you're getting a little serious. That's one of the things. When Pluto involves you, like when Aquarius, if you're born on the day Aquarius happens, like January 19th, something like that, around there, Pluto's sitting on your sun and you get more Scorpio-like. When you're a Pisces at early degrees, or you have anything early degrees like up to 7, Saturn's sitting on that, and that makes you more Capricornian, makes you more stoic, makes you more determined to get what you need to get done. Okay, whether it's a new job that you just started, or you start retirement, it doesn't matter. Saturn, if you're a Pisces, Saturn is sort of coming in and saying a big question: what isn't working here anymore? What isn't working? Now, if you having your second Saturn return, it's the second time Saturn has visited every house in your chart. And I'm addressing the second ones because I know a lot of people, they're in their 50s, late 50s right now, and they are experiencing it. And it's the second time around. And the second time around is when Saturn says, enough of this stuff. You've seen all this before. And if you want to go back there, you can, but you're going to live it again. Or having seen it all before, you can say no and do this differently. So if you're the type that's been beating yourself up or judging yourself or doing and you're in this Saturn time period and you're being a little crunch crazy on yourself, you can keep doing that, Saturn says. You can keep doing it, but you're going to get the same results you got last time. Or look at what you're doing and say, I think I want to do this a little differently. It also is where you get to say, enough is enough. I have a boundary here. And the answer is no. It's tough for Saturn and Pisces people. If you are a Pisces and you have Saturn in Pisces, or if you're just Saturn in Pisces, you could be any sign. One of the things that I think is most important for you to remember is it's like being a prisoner of yourself. Because Saturn and Pisces, they feel alone. They feel ungotten. They don't know how to connect because too much of a connection means I've merged in and I'm lost. So I'll put a boundary up and then I feel alone and in solitary. And it's a constant battle. Being a Pisces is hard enough. I'll give all Pisces that. It's hard enough. You feel everything and you develop defenses against feeling everything. And that choice has a multitude of options. So no one can predict what you look like, what you act like, who you're going to be, because all Pisces are really different. And a lot of it depends on who they're hanging out with. I had a dearest friend, Pisces, years and years ago. I knew just by him coming into the house who he'd been hanging out with. His mannerisms were different. His energy was different. His attitude was different, but I knew. And it was incredible to me, their inability to see it, number one, but my ability to feel it was like, it's so obvious. And I didn't care. It was more like fascination at this mutability. Like the next thing a Pisces knows is they're in this thing. They don't know how they got there. That's why Einstein, being a genius that he was, the formulas were there. He had reach to them. He had access to them. Do you think he could map out how he did that? Same thing with Pisces. So during this cycle with Saturn, I want you to pay attention a little bit about where you are in the Saturn cycle, like where Saturn is in your chart. Like where is Pisces in your chart? If you're an Aries rising, it's in the 12th house. Okay? If you're a Taurus rising, it's in the 11th house, etc. Gemini rising, it's in the 10th. It goes like that. It goes back. Like, so as you go to the order of the zodiac, if it's a Cancer rising, it's in the 9th, etc., etc. Just pay attention. You can figure it out and then see how that area of your life is being restructured. That's all. Okay, I'm taking a quick look at the comments, you guys, because I like to see where you're at, how you're doing. I just saw Jennifer, having seen it all before, you can say no and do this differently. And she put, the GIF is great, Jennifer. Thank you. Patricia, Maya, welcome. Patricia, welcome. And so true, Mark. As an older person, I support younger people in bringing the world forward to peace. They can do it, but they need to be allowed. Yay, Anne. Tiffany, I'm feeling that way at 50. Tiffany, that's so great. Virgo too, and being a Virgo, and I think Virgos, you're timeless as a Virgo, just trust me. And your mind might say, I feel like a 50-year-old, or I feel, I'm not sure if you're talking about my older than 50 people, but yeah, you'll always feel a little more mature. That's just the way it is for Virgos. If you're yelling at kids to get off your lawn, you could be old. That's right. Pamela, that's good. Hi, Denise. Welcome. Thanks, Jennifer. Big hugs back. Top of the day to you all from Jay. Thanks for the awesome shout out, Mark. Jay is such a heart-centered little guy. Julie Miller. Good morning, everyone. It's been so dark in the PNW. I have missed joining live for a while. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks, Julie. Michelle's here. Karen Erickson's here. The Virgos are coming out. I love it. You're welcome, Jackie. Love is always there, girl. All right, you guys, you know how much I feel about you. And I love this room is so warm. If you're new to the show, don't be afraid to come in. You don't have to say anything. You can lurk. You can just lurk. You don't need to speak. You can just come and just see what people are saying and sort of get a feel. You have to it'll ask you to be invited. You just hit that member request and we'll let you in. It's not a big deal. So as we wrap up, let's see what time it is. Oh, we got a few minutes. Okay, good. So we know to check the beginning of the week. Now let's talk a little bit about the upcoming Piscean shift. I want to just talk to you about, I did touch on, oh my gosh, and we have the Jupiter-Uranus thing we're keeping an eye on too. We have plenty of shows to do that. Don't forget, I have to do these little PSAs, public service announcements. 12listen.com. is on sale today. It's on fire too. I mean, I saw the requests. People are making appointments, getting readings. It's totally fun. It's some of the best money you'll ever spend. I highly recommend you do it. Okay. 12listen.com. I think you guys will just enjoy it. We work hard to keep the team good and CA, if I really couldn't do much without CA in the background. She, as you know, the author of The Power Peak, which is at markhusson.com or Mark's Power Peak, and she writes the weekly forecast, and you get on that mailing list at 12house.com. Okay, so please go visit and get the update of what's happening. It's written in plain English for the most part. There are some things that you'll be like, what? Just pass them by. Don't have to worry about that. And isn't that how we do life? I mean, I do have an issue if your mind isn't curious. I get mad at people who aren't curious. I don't know why. That's me being mad during Mars and Capricorn. It's not a permanent thing, I don't think. But it's like, can't you just ask the question? Couldn't you Google it? Can you go a little further? Or do you just go glazy-eyed and not go? But I think it's important to stay curious, right? I think it's important. And if you don't feel that you're curious, you can kind of kick your butt a little bit. Make yourself curious. What does that mean? Why is that the effect? What da-da-da-da? And so, as curiosity befalls you, ask the questions about what's it mean to have this Aries moon? What's it mean? Why am I depressed? Why am I depressed? That's an interesting one. You know, I love talking about depression, because I find it an interesting phenomenon. I know the feeling when it almost feels like there's not enough juice inside of you to lift your spirits. Okay, so I want to have a minute with you about this. Thank you, Aries, for giving us that lift, that Aries moon, because it can put some fire in you. But if you're noticing the fire isn't there, if you're noticing your mind isn't budging, and you can't think of one thing that will move you, and I think we all know this place. One of the most important things you can do is chill for a minute. Like, stop forcing the issue. Like, your mind is not budging. It's stuck. And it's like, you picture this image of somebody depressed and you going, here, did this make you laugh? Will this make you happy? Will this, and you're like, no, none of it. Go away. And that's kind of what we're doing to ourselves when we don't like where we are in a place of depression. The scariest thing sometimes is to go into it, not look at it, but just like, my body is saying no today. My mind is saying no today. I just want to be in the bed. I want to be here, and I don't want to move. And if life circumstances require you to move, like going to the bathroom or let the dogs out or go for a walk or whatever, do them. But stop the evaluation of it. Stop thinking there's a solution and you're at fault for having this experience in life, okay? That's a number one big one. It's like, stop your madness on yourself. Number two, if you remember the thought that this has a valid reason to be here, this feeling has a validity to it, then you might be more willing to let it yourself experience it. Like, what color is it? You know, the game you used to play, not even a game. I used to call it a game when psychologists would say, where's the pain located? Where's the feeling located in your body specifically? What color is it? Is it big? Is it small? Is it round? Is it square? You can do that game. It's fine, because it might help you keep objectifying it, like you stepping out that you are not the depression, but your body's experiencing it. Your mind is experiencing it. So being willing to trust that there is a part of you that isn't depressed, that there's a part of you outside of this, it's just as bad as if you're happy all the time. And I'm not saying being happy is bad, but if you are constantly leaping to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, it might be nice just to take a minute and experience your happiness, right? Instead of always acting, moving, distract. Having a moment to say, what color is this? Where is it located in my body? We hang on by thin threads sometimes, it feels like. Remember that hanging there at the dentist's office on the ceiling where the cat's hanging on something ready to fall? We all can feel like that. I think it's important. The prescription here is to build the strength of the observing mind, to not be afraid of it. To not be afraid of looking at it directly, even if it's happiness. Do you know how afraid people are to look at their happiness directly? Because why? It might go away. I have a superstition about being grateful out loud. Because the minute I say, gosh, I appreciate my refrigerator so much, it blows up. It just seems to happen that way. And I think my grandmother taught me that too, about being prideful, being too proud, because and that I have a thing about Pride Week. I'm not a gay person that would dance in the street in his underwear. I don't mind that people do that, I suppose, but I'm also like, there seems to be, is there some tastefulness to this, that where it could just be tasteful and sweet and fun and I don't know. So, but for me, it's sort of the idea of I have my own superstitions. That's the whole point. I have my own things about it. So if you notice the minute I started getting into a little bit of politics, I stopped myself. I don't want, because I know people are so sensitive. We've lost a lot of sense of humor about our lives. We can't make fun of each other in a certain way. And I get all that, but I'm sad about that. I think it's like, it shows a certain fragility that is like, come on, we're just all passing through here. But I won't get on that bandwagon today. We'll save that for a good show when Mars is doing something even meaner. But this depression thing, I want you to understand, with Mars moving into Pluto, it might have you get some strength to look a little deeper, to not judge it, to look just a little, not understand it, but to look and say, I'm depressed. I get it, but it isn't me. Maybe your body let you down. Maybe there's some physical things you're going through and you feel depressed about your body letting you down. I feel that way when my body aches. It's like, God, and so you get into this thing where you realize you kind of have to ride this flow, and then you correct course, do what you can to make yourself feel better. But you don't get into defeatism about it. You don't get into this. And I know the Virgo in me does this. So I know Virgos do this, where they get into a spiral that just is like, it's the worst it's ever been. It's the worst it's ever going to be. And it's and it's like the mental spiral. And if you're a strong mind, that's where you'll go. So the idea is observe. Just observe. I feel like crap. Okay. Or I feel really good, but stay present with the idea that that's what my body's doing, not necessarily who I am in this moment forever. Okay, so that's something we can do and practice as the week goes on. And I always join you in the celebration of when you get an observing moment, when you get the moment to observe your life and to be aware that you have good things going on, but there's some things here that you aren't liking, and it's okay. And you practice putting them on the shelf. I have a kind of OCD mind that won't let go of bad news. Like if I get a letter from the IRS, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. This morning I got something from Ancestry.com that said, thank you for your renewal of your subscription. And I was like, it was 3 a.m. And I'm like, no, I didn't. You can't do this. So I get the bot, the AI bot. And I'm like, oh, you know what? So I just went agent. This is maybe a tip for you. I just went agent. And it said, okay, you want to speak to someone live? Like, yeah, no, of course. Yeah. So I want to speak to someone. I get the agent on the phone. They're like, can I ask why you want to quit? I said, you can ask. I don't want to answer. I don't want the subscription and I want a refund. Types back, I canceled your subscription. It will last for the month and then you won't be charged again. And I said, that's not good enough. I want a refund. And she said, it'll take me 2 to 3 minutes. And I said, don't put me off. I will get a hold of the credit card company in 1 minute to cancel the charge if you don't refund it. They just simply asked me to come to you. And 2 seconds later, you've been refunded. The account's been canceled. But high pressure sales in this day and age, you need to stop that. Like I could easily be talking to AI, and that's the worst part of AI to me. No, one of the bad things about AI is for them is that I'm going to assume anyone I'm talking to is AI, and I no longer need you to like me. And so don't be charging my credit card. And so Aries moon, I was like, yes, thank you. Because I think the Pisces moon would have been, well, don't be too hard on them. They're just working there. And then today it was like, they may not even be human. So don't worry about their feelings right now. Get your refund. So I got my refund. I saved it, and I also clicked save chat. So if that refund doesn't show up, But here's was my point. I get OCD about it. I can't let it go. It's like, oh my God. Okay. I'm going to be thinking about this thing I got or this thing that happened until it's completed, until it's done. Well, I have learned that I'm allowed to write it down, just write down to remember, like a list I have this thing on my computer that lets me take a note. I know where to put it. And then I consciously see myself putting it on a shelf, trying to let it go. And it's kind of crazy how much it works. Like to forget it. I'm so afraid I'm going to forget it and never come back to it. Well, that ain't going to happen. So we can manage our kind of crazy if you want, but you got to be able to laugh at it. You got to be able to call it out. You got to be able to see it. And then you got to be able to love it, to be okay. Like, that's just me. What am I going to do? And I'm having fun with it these days because John would be like, we had this thing about how loud everything was. Like, I fell asleep. I had a timer for the bread and I didn't hear it. I was just zonked. And he comes up and he goes, did you not hear that? And I go, no, but I do hear it. So, Alexa, turn it off. And then the next one was, he came up and he said something, I couldn't hear it. And he said, the TV is so loud. And I went, oh my God, the symptoms of hearing loss. That's what we're dealing with here. We aren't. I mean, we might be, but I don't think so. I was just tired. And I had also was listening to a song loud. I knew why the TV was up. But anyway, c'est la vie. So you guys, it's coming to the close of another show. I've so enjoyed being with you. It feels so selfishly indulgent to have these chats with you because, you're not on a Zoom call with me talking back. So let me hit reload and we'll count down here to a better week. We have Christina LaFrance on after me, Lori Love on after me, Jamie Jamie Dawn. It is Jamie Dawn's on after Lori. So we have 3 shows after me, and then some new shows coming up that will get announced to you as they solidify their thing. But I got the calendar updated at the top of at the top of 1-2 Radio. I just read Catherine Nasdaq. Hi, Catherine. She said, I'm enjoying listening to you while mopping the floors. I love that. Ali Shea, I get it, Mark. I was upset with myself for not accomplishing stuff and with others about wanting to be entertained and all the time without thinking. I kept saying all our brain cells are dying. That's great, Ali Shea. I love that. Okay, I'm running through real quick, you guys. I hope I don't miss any of you. Tiffany said, I was referring to not understanding certain aspects of younger generations. Oh, I got you, Tiff. I got you. No, I love that. I know. We say that too. I think it's just something that we see sometimes, and then you get a chance to see. Luckily, you see it. You get a chance to see the beauty in some of these people that are up and coming. It's lovely. Joni, thank you. That's such a kind compliment. Carrie, Saturn in Pisces in my 3rd. And in my 2nd Saturn return, I'm setting up my boundaries like crazy. Yay, Carrie. Good. That's exactly what you need to do. I love that. Terry, you're welcome. I'm glad the 29th degree thing was fun. I love that. And it was for me too. Melinda, my sun in Pisces, late degree Aquarius moon, Mars and Venus in Aquarius. What kind of fireworks? You have a sun in Pisces, late degree Aquarius moon. Okay, so it's going to be a while till that Aquarius moon gets hit because Pluto get this, it's going to be like 20 years in Aquarius. But the Pisces sun, it depends on what degree it is. But you will notice a more stoic, more serious attitude emerging in you. And when you notice that, like you are thinking more like, I want a second job, or I'm not doing enough, or I want to get rid of this thing and I'm starting to plot how, that's how you know Saturn's taking effect on you. And Mars going into Aquarius, it'll take a month. By the end of this month, we should see that on your moon. And that's when you're getting irritated. And you're like definitely not putting up with anything from anybody. And I know you got that. Truly, big hugs back to you. You guys really rock. Thank you so very much for spending time with me on this Monday morning. I know it's early for a lot of you. Please don't forget about 1-2 Day. Tell a friend if you have a friend that needs some support. Tell them that we're having a sale. And if they sign up, if they haven't signed up, they get 5 minutes free to talk. You just go to 12listen.com for 1-2 Day. Thank you all again so much for being a part of my life. Have a beautiful week. Let's see what happens next week. We'll see if we can look at what Mars and Pluto did and then Venus following next Monday when we chat. Okay, stay tuned for Christina LaFrance.